Hello everyone, I'm Heather. I'm back for a really quick video. This one particularly quick because I think this tag is just quick. Even for someone who rambles absolutely loads, this is going to be pretty quick. So I was tagged in this tag by Celia, who's amazing. I'll link her down below. And it was created by Sean D. Standhaft. I'll link his original video below as well. Oh my god, my dog is going mental because the door is just slightly closed. He thinks that because the door is slightly closed, he can't get in. Just push the door, babe. You're massive. You can do what you want. Okay, so the first question on the tag is, do you read more than one book at a time? What are you reading now? Do you read one thing at one certain time of day and another thing at another time of day? And I do read several books at a time, yes. I've sort of culled it down now because this sort of whole lockdown thing, life's been a bit crazy. I was like, okay, so what are some things that are causing anxiety that I can actually control? And just sort of like a spiraling 8 million long list of books that I'm currently reading was one of the things I can control. So I've narrowed it now. I'm now only in the middle of 4 books. Oh shit. Knocked it all the way down. I'm currently doing an audiobook, which is Mudlark, and it's really good so far. I've just started it, but it's something really good to just do sort of passively in the background. I always have one audiobook on the go, and then several physical books as well. But this one is about this woman who lives in London, and she's been doing this for years. She does mudlarking on the Thames, so she goes down to the river at low tide and just sort of finds things that are stuck in the mud on the shore. And I sort of thought, oh, well, I could do that. That's like no big deal. You just go, you find stuff. And I was like, oh, I'll do it someday. I'll do it. But as she's sort of talking about it, it is like a serious science, and you have to know loads of stuff about like when the tides come in, where the tides are likely to last longest or shortest, or at what time of year, or blah, blah, blah. You have to know where human habitation has been sort of focused the longest. You know, like some parts of the Thames, people haven't really lived there. It doesn't really have a lot of traffic, so you're not going to get a lot of things stuck in the mud, you know, not a lot of like, you know, she finds a lot of rings and shoes and bowls and stuff. But anyway, so she's got it down to an art. She's been doing it for years, and she finds loads of stuff. I follow her on Instagram, and all the stuff she finds is amazing. It's like, yeah, like rings, but like things that are properly old. So I think she found a Roman thing once. She sort of regularly finds Georgian things, you know. Right, so I'm also reading physical books. I'm reading A Ruby by B.C. Andrews. I keep talking about this book because it's taking me ages to read it, and I don't really understand why. I'm trapped in a bit of a time warp. Like, I've talked about it a million times. I feel like I'm not going to talk about it again, but it's for Bert's 90s book club, which I'm loving, but they've already finished it like ages ago. Like, they've already had the discussion about it, and I was like, oh, and then I missed it because I'm like in a time warp and I can't for my life figure out why it's taking so long. I read absolutely loads of it this morning and then looked at like how much it actually was, and it was just like basically a couple pages. Like, why is this happening? Not that I don't like it, mind. It is, you know, pretty good. It's pretty interesting. You know, B.C. Andrews always throws in a couple crazy things just to mess with your mind. You know, I don't know what's up. Anyway, the other one that I've been reading for absolutely ages, since I went to Lanzarote, and if, you know, since I was allowed to not only leave the house, but leave the country. Oh, shit, ages ago. So I went to Lanzarote, and this book, P.S. I Love You by Cecilia Ahern, has a part in it where they go to Lanzarote, and I was like, whoop, Lanzarote theme, I'll read a Lanzarote book in Lanzarote. So I read 2 other books about Lanzarote, and then started this one there as well, and then didn't finish it. And because I've been reading loads of other things, like readathons and the stupid, like, pandemic bullshit, like, I just haven't been able to get through it properly. But I think as soon as I sort this one out, I'm going to devote all of my time and energy to finishing P.S. I Love You, because it's quite good as well. You know, it's that one, there's a movie about it, you know, where it's got, I'll put him somewhere. I can't remember his name. But the movie was really good, so I thought, oh, the book would be really good. And apparently the book is way different. And it is sort of quite different from what I'm remembering of it. But I really like it. It's going really quick. There's not a lot to think about in it. You know, it's just like bam, 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 you know. It's a light read, which is basically what I need at this time, so I don't know why I'm faffing around about it. Anyway, Also, the fourth one that I'm reading is I'm reading with my kid. It's Bad Guys in Do You Think He's Saurus? It's to do with dinosaurs, get it? Where the last book they went to space and they had to fight this like evil alien gerbil or like guinea pig or something. Like he was a gerbil or guinea pig, and he went to space and he was like turning all the animals of the planet into zombies. And so the bad guys had to go there and sort it out, but then they realized that he's not actually a guinea pig gerbil thing. He's actually an alien, and he's got butts for hands. So he's got like tentacle things, and it's just a bunch of butts. And they like squish things together, and like if they pick you up, they like pick you up between butts like that. So my kid thought that was hilarious. But they left space in like a pod thing that they thought was going to take them back to Earth, and it did take them back to Earth, but it accidentally took them like in time, like millions of years ago, to the time of the dinosaurs. So now they're dealing with that. Anyway, next question is, how do you organize your library? And the answer to that is, I don't. Oh. My life is a bit crazy and chaotic. I sort of do my best thinking in chaos, I think. I don't really have that much space for books and such on my bookshelves. So I just basically have to cull everything down to haven't read it or loved it so much I can't possibly part with it. Everything else, even if I liked it, even if I loved it, but it's not my favorite book, it's got to go to the charity shop or to a friend or something. So basically my bookshelf is under the principle of if it fits, it sits. So like, if a book can have a place, any place, top, bottom, side, just over like the draping edge part, it can stay. If there's no room for it, it has to go. That's basically the organization theory behind that. Do you ever get the urge to reorganize your library is question number 3. And the answer is occasionally I look at it and I think, well, this is a clusterfuck. Should I do something about this? I'm just looking at my bookshelves going, this is chaos. This is crazy. Like, I can't live my life like this, you know? I need to, like, I'm an adult. I'm 32 years old. I need to sort at least this part of my life out into categories. But then I usually think, well, what's the best way to take on a project? Do it with alcohol. So I pour myself, you know, like a wine or like a shandy or a beer or something. And then I sit down and I look at the shelves and I think, oh, okay, so I'll get it in my mind like how I want it to go, like looking for inspiration, you know, like an artist, like, oh, should I do it by color? Should I make sure that everything has a place, you know? And while I'm doing that, I'm drinking. And then that's generally where I'm like, actually, let's dance. Let's call a friend. Let's go out, you know, let's watch the Netflix. There's an episode of Outlander. What, Baba?
Daddy's not sharing.
Oh, I will come down in a second, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, so I never actually do the organizing of the books. What can I say? Question number 4 is your favorite small publishers. So I think my favorite sort of little publishers, like I don't really know about like, you know, international book wise. Like I think my favorite ones are ones that are quite Wales specific, you know, sort of local Welsh ones. There's Gomer, there's Alolva, which is the living room, but in Welsh, and also Saren, which is star in Welsh. And they not only do Welsh language publishing, but they do English language publishing to do with Wales, you know. So I read a book a bit ago for Dewithon, which was the Wales related readathon in March. And I read, it's like a series of a bunch of different stories that are like modern interpretations of stories in the Mabinogion, which is like the Welsh book of sort of legends and sort of folktales and things like that. It's sort of the Welsh epic together. Sort of has like original sort of Welsh Arthurian tales and sort of stories about like Blodeuwedd, which was like a woman made of flowers who was made to be the wife of like some guy. You know, Welsh kings and Welsh battles and stuff like that. So in there, each sort of story or whatever, they've taken them out and they've given them to a different sort of Welsh author or an author sort of in the area, local author, and said, can you make a modern adaptation of this story? And I read one that was The Dream of Max and Ronnie. And it was really good. Like I'll put it up like here. I really liked it. And that I'm pretty sure is published by Saren. and they do lots of sort of things like that. I read recently also Llyfrglas Nebo by Manon Steffan Ross, and that's a Welsh language book, but it's really popular. It was quite good. It was grim, but good. And that I think is published by Alolva, so I tend to like those ones. Next question is number 5. Can you recall every book in your library, or are there some books that seem to have just showed up? So you'd think, from my normal like chaotic life and demeanor and how I lose track of like quite a lot of things, including time and people, you'd think that I wouldn't be able to sort of know where each book came from, or like, you know every book in my library, but I'm pretty sure I do. And I don't really know why it is that it only really relates to books. I think if someone was like to give me like a blank piece of paper and say, write down every book you have, I wouldn't really be able to do it, I don't think. But if they were to sort of give me a list of books that I have and don't have all mixed up, I'd be able to say, which ones I have and which ones I don't have pretty clearly. The only problem I get is when my husband's books start to merge with mine, where mine end and where his begin, sort of like get all sort of muddled when we're sort of looking at it going, where can this go, and if there's space on the other person's side, if it fits, it sits. So I'll sort of look at a book and I'll be like, oh wow, when did I get this book? This is definitely something I'd love. I'll read that, and then he'll be like, oh, you found my book, did you? And I'll be like, oh shit, yeah, that's why. Anyway, we don't really get it that often because he likes super boring bullshit books about like academic studies of like the history of things, which is horrendous, or like really deep, intense texts in the Welsh language that like just nobody can read. I'm not even convinced that he can read them. I think that he just uses them to put on a shelf so that he can be like, yes, I like big books and I cannot lie. But anyway, number 6, do you collect bookmarks? And I would say yes, but not intentionally. People tend to get me bookmarks because they know that I really like books, and thus I will like bookmarks. So I have a drawer sort of full of them, so I never really run out. And they're proper bookmarks, they're the kind that like clip on to the page, and I have like a really fancy ones as well, like jewel edged, like metal ones that are really gorgeous. And people get me them all the time, and I use them obviously because I read several books at a time, so I do need several bookmarks at a time. But I would never sort of like go to a place, and then be like, oh, I love this bookmark, I'm gonna get it. Like, I don't like actively collect bookmarks. I just sort of passively do it on accident. But they're needed, so thank you for the bookmarks. I fully appreciate. Right, okay, so that is the end of the tag, and I think we've hit a record amount of time for a video for me to do, because I think like the absolute shortest video I've ever done about books or a tag or anything was like a good 20 minutes. So don't know how long this one has got to, but I'm gonna say I smashed it. Now I've got to go deal with this like daddy's not sharing situation, which is probably true, to be honest, because he likes to eat the foods. And then also I'm gonna make some cookies with my kid, because who doesn't love cookies in isolation on a Saturday? It doesn't actually feel like a Saturday, except that it's different somehow from yesterday. Anyway, I hope you are all really well and feeling sane, feeling good in yourselves, and you're not going crazy. And I thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions about anything that I said, or if you have any comments about what you would do in these situations, or like any books that you've read that are similar, blah, blah, like literally just anything, throw it at me. I love a good like YouTube comment conversation, especially in these times of woe. Okay, I love you all. Thank you for watching. Okay, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.